in this lecture series, we will have 5 lectures, including today's one. Before I get into the main topic, in introduction, I want to talk about a couple of issues. First, I want to talk about the meaning of bodhicitta. Second, I want to talk about Shindan's view of the 2 types of bodhicitta. And what is bodhicitta? Okay. It is usually translated as aspiration for becoming a Buddha. And this is a starting point in our study of Buddhism. And the bodhicitta has two contents, the twofold content of bodhicitta. First one is aspiration to become a Buddha. And second one is aspiration to save all sentient beings. So the first aspiration is aspiration for self-benefiting. And second aspiration is aspiration for others benefiting. The aspiration for perfecting compassion. Okay? So these are the contents of the bodhicitta. And when we awaken bodhicitta, starting point in Buddhism, we become a bodhisattva. Then when a bodhisattva perfects the bodhisattva practice, he becomes a Buddha. So these concepts, bodhicitta, bodhisattva, Buddha, are all related concepts. Okay? And next, Shindan's view of the 2 types of bodhicitta. Usually, Buddhist teachers talk about one type of bodhicitta, but Shindan Shonin talks about 2 types of bodhicitta. This makes Shindan very different from other Buddhist teachers. Okay? And Shindan talks about 2 types of bodhicitta. They are the self-power bodhicitta, and the other one is the other power bodhicitta. The first bodhicitta, the self-power bodhicitta, is also called the bodhicitta of the path of sages. Shindan says this is the starting point of provisional Buddhism. Later we talk about this. This is provisional Buddhism, and this is the true Buddhism. True Buddhism. And so the second bodhicitta, the other power bodhicitta, is also called the Pure Land bodhicitta. This is the starting point in Jodo Shinshu. True Shindan. Jodo Shinshu means the true Buddhism. Okay? This is the provisional Buddhism. This is true Buddhism. Shindan teaches us that awakening the self-power bodhicitta, the first bodhicitta, is not good enough, and we must further awaken the other power bodhicitta, the second bodhicitta, to experience true spiritual liberation in Buddhism. Okay. Although Shindan talks about all kinds of ideas in his teaching, he considers the bodhicitta the most important issue in Buddhism. Having the right path, or having the right initial motivation in our study of Buddhism is the most important issue. Many of us think that we have already awakened bodhicitta. Okay? All of you have already awakened bodhicitta because you are interested in Buddhism and you started to study Buddhism. So in that sense, all of us have already awakened bodhicitta. And we believe that we have awakened the right starting point, we started the right beginning. And we don't doubt it. We don't doubt it. Do you doubt your initial motivation? No, we don't doubt it. But Shinran challenges us to examine our starting point, our initial aspiration or motivation. He challenges us to examine the starting point, our starting point. And he challenges us to recognize the mistake we are making in the first bodhicitta we have awakened. He wants us to recognize that the first starting point is a wrong one, and he tells us that we must further awaken the second type of bodhicitta, the second starting point. So it seems like this is a very difficult topic I am going to discuss, and probably you never thought about this kind of topic, and I'm sure this is one of the most difficult teaching you may have encountered. Okay? But in part one, that is today's lecture, I will discuss an outline of Shinran's teaching by discussing his teaching that is called the three-stage transition. This teaching shows us the three stages Shinran went through as a Buddhist. By examining Shinran's spiritual growth through these three stages, I want to explain Shinran's view of the two types of bodhicitta. I believe this schema is one of the greatest teachings in the world religion. When Shinran was writing the Kyogyo Shinsho, his main work, he reflected upon his life and came up with this schema of the three-stage transition. This schema is a summary of Shinran's life as a Buddhist. Well, I could say this schema is a kind of conclusion of Shinran's life as a Buddhist. It shows us the spiritual transition Shinran experienced. It shows us the process in which he critically examined himself. Buddhism is a teaching of self-examination. So this schema shows us the process in which he critically examined himself. Thus, we can say that this schema is an expression of Shinran's self-criticism or his confession. It is in this schema that Shinran talks about two types of Buddhism, the provisional Buddhism, and the true Buddhism. And first two stages are the provisional. Here, Shinran identified first two stages with the provisional Buddhism, and the third stage with true Buddhism, which is Shinshu. Okay. And Shinran explains, and he talks about this self-power bodhicitta in this context. And he talks about the other power bodhicitta or Shinjin here. Okay? And so Shinran explains these three stages. He explains these three stages in terms of the three vows. Those three vows are the 19th vow, 20th vow, and 18th vow. And so the Shinran calls this the first stage, the 19th vow stage, second stage, the 20th vow stage, and third stage, the 18th vow stage. And Shinran identifies these three stages with three types of people. He called the first type of people the two falsely settled, going wrong direction, falsely settled. And he called the second types of people the unsettled. unsettled. And he called the third type of people mentioned in the 18th vow, the truly settled. This is the upside down, wrongly, falsely settled. And this is these people are truly settled. Going down is the right direction. Okay? So this is truly settled. But these people are called unsettled because they are in between these two, and there's ambivalence. Okay? They are could go this way or could go this way. Okay? In between these two stages. So Shinran called these people the unsettled. Okay? And Shinran, okay, as I said, this talks about Shinran's experience as a Buddhist. So Shinran was initially the first type of practitioner here. Then he became the second type of practitioner. And eventually he became the third type of person. Okay, now let us get into the first stage, okay? Shinran called this the provisional Buddhism, the stage of the falsely settled, okay? Falsely settled. And these people are described in 19th vow. And Shinran, this is the Buddhism of Shinran when he was on Mount Hiei. He spent 20 years on Mount Hiei from his age 9 to 29. Okay, now let's get into the contents of the 19th vow. Okay, 19th vow. If when I attain Buddhahood, the sentient beings of the 10 quarters, awakening the mind of enlightenment and performing meritorious acts to the awakened aspiration with sincere mind and desire to be born in my land, and yet I should not appear before them at the moment of death, surrounded by a host of sages. May I not attain the supreme enlightenment. Shinran talks about the five names of this vow, okay, and the vow, various names for this vow. Okay? The vow of performing meritorious acts, the vow of Buddha's appearance at death, the vow of Buddha's appearance and the guidance to birth, the vow of Buddha's coming to receive us, and the vow of sincere mind and awakening aspiration. The last one I spelled out in bold face is the new name Shinran gave to this vow. Okay. Shinran is mainly concerned about the nature of the mind, starting mind, initial motivation. Okay. So he believed this motivation. Although these believers, practitioners think they awaken the authentic, bodhicitta, but he called this the self-power bodhicitta. Okay, so the name, the vow of sincere mind awakening aspiration means the vow about the self-power bodhicitta. Okay, and they awaken this bodhicitta. Then, as the vow says, okay, these people practice sundry practices performed on the basis of self-power bodhicitta or dualistic thinking. They perform sundry practices to eliminate blind passion. So on Mount Hiei, okay, people are trying to eliminate these crosses of the blind passion. They engage in all kinds of practices on Mount Hiei to eliminate this and eliminate this is the absence of passion. So this is a Buddhahood. They are trying hard to eliminate blind passion to become a Buddha here, kind of sage, who doesn't have any impurities or blind passions. Okay? So they have these meritorious acts. Okay? Meritorious acts. Shinran called them the sundry practices. He called their birth attained beneath the twin sala trees, which refers to the death of Shakyamuni, an ideal type of death that is expressed by a sage. So, practitioners here want to have the death of Shakyamuni, peaceful ending of human life, attained by the sage. That is the idea. Shinran talks called it birth attained beneath the twin sala tree. And And Shinran believes that this first stage is based upon the Contemplation Sutra. Okay? He considers that the first stage is based on the import of Contemplation Sutra. Okay. Okay. And now, okay, now this is important. Okay, the basis of spiritual basis of this first stage. This is the dualistic thinking. This is the dualistic human wisdom. Okay? Dualistic thinking means the regular way of thinking that we use in our daily life. It is a way of thinking that people such as our parents and school teachers have taught us. It means that we divide things into two: plus values such as good, right, pure, beautiful, and happy, and minus values such as evil, wrong, impure, ugly, and unhappy. After dividing things into two types of values, we become attached to plus values, considering plus values meaningful and minus values meaningless. Dualistic thinking itself is not wrong, but our attachment to it is the problem. It becomes the cause of human suffering. Dualistic thinking is useful and beneficial because it has developed many wonderful things, such as culture, technology, and science. But it cannot realize ultimate spiritual liberation and cannot realize the fulfillment of our life, because dualistic thinking sees meaning only in plus values, not in minus values. It is the basis of objective knowledge, not of subjective wisdom. The problem about the dualistic thinking is that dualistic thinking, pluses and minuses. This is the wisdom divide things into pluses and minuses. And we see meaning only in pluses. Okay? So things like passion, we don't see any meaning in minuses. Okay? And so we want to eliminate them. And we want to realize this plus values, okay? Like a good, right, pure, beautiful. These things we pursue. And so, like, we appreciate only pluses like life, youth, health, we can appreciate, but we cannot appreciate death, aging, and sickness. Then we can appreciate only half of our life. See? And we are going to end our life with death, aging, and sickness. Then only the plus values, such as life and youth, have meaning. Then our life must end in meaninglessness. That's the limitation of human wisdom and dualistic thinking. Because see, if we are attached to only plus values and cannot appreciate minus values, we can appreciate only half of our lives. See? Then our life cannot be fulfilled. Since dualistic thinking and pragmatic thinking are synonymous, we believe that Buddhism should satisfy our practical needs. It should be useful in enhancing plus values and eliminating minus values. This pragmatic mentality is all right in the initial stage of learning Buddhism, but as we advance in the Buddhist path, we must realize the mistake of having such mentality. We all start to study Buddhism because we love pluses and we hate minuses. We think that Buddhism can bring us this happiness, purity, and good, and eliminate suffering and evil or impurity things. See? But that's a human wisdom, dualistic thinking. Okay? That's a very pragmatic way of thinking. So we start Buddhism with that self-power bodhicitta. Bodhicitta. This is the dualistic aspiration. Okay? And so initially it's inevitable. Okay, it's inevitable. We have this orientation. Probably most of you have started to study Buddhism with that kind of motivation. I want to be happy. I want to be a nicer person. See? I want to have enlightenment. I want to have shinji. I want to have birth in Pure. All these goodies. and want to eliminate bad things. That's human wisdom, okay? So initially it's inevitable, it's all right for us to have that kind of Buddhism, but we must know it's based on human dualistic thinking, not Buddha's non-dualistic wisdom, okay? Shinran considers dualistic thinking impure because it is based on self-benefiting mentality. Good means convenient for me, and evil means inconvenient for me. The Buddhism that is based on dualistic thinking lacks objectivity and universality because it is based on the likes and dislikes of individual persons. People have their respective types of Buddhism on the basis of their likes and dislikes. So this is an individual religion. Everybody has my kind of Buddha, my kind of Pure Land. Okay? And there's no universality there. Okay? So there's that kind of danger in this first type of bodhicitta or first type of Buddhism. And okay, and Shinran identifies dualistic thinking with terms such as self-power, or twofold mind, or calculating mind. Please, this is very important, okay? We talk about self-power all the time in the Shinshu, but we must know the meaning of self-power means the dualistic thing. And Shinran calls the self-power the twofold mind, mind of two-ness, dualism. Okay? And calculating mind, because you have to calculate the struggle between the two class and mind, which is better for me, which is good, if there are two-ness, you have to struggle between the two. You have to debate which is better. See? If there's only oneness, no room for struggling, okay? See, that here. Dualistic thinking exists at the basis of practices. On the basis of dualistic thinking, we feel that our life is unsatisfactory because it has negative values such as blind passions. We envision an ideal goal in the future, a goal full of, it's inevitable that if we use this dualistic thinking, we consider present reality unfavorable, not good. And we envision something better, see, in the future. See? We have dream in the future. So we have to go there. That means practicing. Okay? So in order to realize the ideal goal in the future, we engage in various practices. We attempt to better ourselves by eliminating minus values, such as blind passions. Where there is dualistic thinking, there is always a practice, because the practice is designed to realize plus values by eliminating minus values. Shinran believes that we cannot realize ultimate spiritual liberation through practices that are based on dualistic thinking. Okay? Shinran says, we talk about Nembutsu later. Shinran says, Nembutsu is not a practice. There is no practice in Jodo Shinshu. This is the reason why Shinran says so. Okay, and one more thing here about this, dualistic thinking. Okay, so the attachment to dualistic thinking or fixed values, dualistic values, is a basic cause of human suffering and samsara, an endless cycle of birth and death. Okay? Those who are attached to dualistic thinking cannot appreciate both plus values and minus values. They keep searching only plus values. They are ignorant of the truth of conditional arising, that everything arises because causes a condition. It's impossible that we want to keep just pluses, because reality is change. Plus becoming minus, minus becoming plus. See? This continuous change, but dualistic thinking is against this truth of conditional arising or impermanence. We try to focus only on this, and we want to cherish this, maintain these plus values continuously. There's some unnaturalness, impossibility involved in this dualistic thinking. Okay? They are being ignorant of the truth of conditional arising or impermanence and overestimating the ability of dualistic thinking, they inevitably encounter situations in which they cannot control things and people, or things and people are moving following the law of impermanence or conditional arising. So our dualistic thinking is attached to these class values alone. Okay, so it's inevitable that we bump into the difficult or impactful situations, okay, in which we cannot control things and people. So we experience a tremendous frustration. This frustration is called dukkha, suffering, or unsatisfactoriness. Okay. And pursuing only fixed class values makes people have difficulty. When a dream or class value that people pursue on the basis of dualistic thinking disappears, okay? When this dream that people pursue on the basis of dualistic thinking disappears, they come up with another dream. Like we pursue this dream, okay, this dream, but this, because of the dharma of impermanence, this could disappear. Then we are so disappointed, we have suffering. Then we come up with another plus values as a future dream. We pursue it. Maybe we attain it, but this may disappear. Then tremendous. We just want to focus here and try to ignore this, hate this. This is the wrong way of living. Okay, we are going against the truth of impermanence. Okay, so it is called sick, endless cycle of. This is called samsara. Dualistic thinking makes us to have this endless cycle between the birth and the death. Samsara is called endless cycle of birth of our dreams and the death of our dreams. So if we can appreciate both, we don't have this problem. We can transcend samsara. But being attached to only this side makes us an endless cycle of birth and death. And Shinran says that the dualistic thinking that loves plus values and hate minus values is a basic cause of suffering and samsara. It cannot lead people to ultimate spiritual liberation. Shinran tells us that only the Buddha's non-dualistic wisdom that can appreciate both plus values and minus values can realize ultimate spiritual liberation. Shinran himself awakened this and he engaged in all kinds of practice, meditation, keeping precepts, even chanting the name, Namandamachu here, sundry practice he performed. But he realized that those practices could not eliminate the blind passions, and he could not become the sage. And he was so much disappointed. And those practices made him recognize that the evil and the impurity in him were not so shallow as he had thought. His efforts to root out his blind passions simply made him recognize the bottomless depths of the blind passions. And Shinran realized that his practices are no match for those blind passions. So the first stage was a period in which Shinran performed all kinds of practices to eliminate blind passions, and he failed in that attempt. This was a period in which he eventually became a failure in all traditional Buddhist practices. So he was, in a sense, he was climbing at this religious mountain, okay, to become a sage of Buddha, but he fell down. He fell down to this, and he realized I'm nothing but foolish ordinary people loaded with all passion. None of passions can be eliminated. Okay. So okay, now let's move on to the second stage. Okay, second stage. Having become failure in traditional Buddhism, he was really depressed, and he thought he was totally beyond salvation. But it was then that Shinran met his teacher Honen. Okay, it was then he met his teacher here. He met a teacher here. Okay, he was a 20. This second Buddhism is a Buddhism that started from Shinran's age 29. At age 29, Shinran met his teacher. Okay, and Shinran was deeply moved by Honen Shonin, and Shinran's meeting with his teacher was the most important event in his life. Through this meeting, Shinran was eventually liberated. After Shinran met his teacher, Honen, he became a follower of the Jodoshu school. Okay? Jodoshu school was a tradition that was founded by Honen. Okay? So we could say this is Jodoshu, okay? 20th vow stage. Second stage is the teaching of Jodoshu. And Honen is commonly known as a founder of this school. Okay? So Shinran became the follower of Jodoshu school. And this is a tradition in which practitioners engage in the exclusive practice of Nembutsu, or saying the name. Now Shinran met Honen Shonin. So this vow talks about Shinran's encounter with his teacher and Shinran's practice of Nembutsu, okay, as a follower of Honen's teaching. Okay, 20th vow here, 20th vow. Okay, if when I attain Buddhahood, the saint beings of the 10 quarters, on hearing my name, should place their thoughts on my land, cultivate the root of all virtues. According to Shinran, this means saying the name, and direct their merits with sincere mind, desiring to be born in my land, and yet not ultimately attain it. May I not attain the supreme enlightenment. Again, Shinran talks about various names of this vow. Okay? Actually, 4 names. The vow of cultivating the root of virtue, the vow of settlement of birth through placing thought on the Pure Land, the vow stating if they do not ultimately attain birth, and the vow of sincere mind and directing merits. The last one is the name Shinran created because he wants to say that this vow talks about the self-power bodhicitta. Okay, self-power. Okay, let me read the following section. Shinran calls the second stage, the true gate, a provisional stage of expedient means. He called these 2 stages the stage of expedient means because he believed that Amida Buddha prepared these stages as the expedient means that is designed to guide people to this, because we cannot immediately get to the world of Buddha's wisdom. Okay? We cannot immediately get to the world of oneness. So Buddha skillfully guides us through these 2 stages. Provisional stages are designed to gradually guide us to this. Shinran says, without these 2 preparatory stages, provisional stages, he could not have gone to the 3rd stage of Jodo Shinshu. Okay? Shinran called the 2nd stage the true gate. He called the practitioners described in the 20th vow the unsettled. They mentioned that. the practitioners mentioned in the vow meet a teacher. The vow does not talk about the teacher, meeting with the teacher, but it's implied. Okay, so vow says that on hearing my name, on hearing my name, that means like Shinran met his teacher Honen, who was saying Namandavutsu. So Shinran, by meeting a teacher, Shinran heard the teacher saying the name, and they awakened their aspiration to be born in the Pure Land. Okay, so they by meeting a teacher, okay, who is saying Namandavutsu, by hearing the teacher's Namandavutsu, this person awakened this aspiration for birth in the Pure Land. This is Shinran called self-power bodhicitta. Okay, self-power bodhicitta. Shinran calls these practitioners' initial aspirations the self-power bodhicitta. He called the three minds mentioned in the 20th vow: sincere mind, directing merits, mind of directing merits, the mind that desire to be born. He calls them the self-power three minds, the mind that human beings awaken on the basis of dualistic thinking. These people say, oh, I want to be happy. I hate this impure land. Using this dualism, I hate this impure land. I deserve better. I want to go to happy land. I want to go to a place where I no longer have aging, sickness, death. I want to go to a place where I have only happiness. See, that's human desire. See? So anyway, this aspiration here, this aspiration is, Shinran's teaching is really, what shall I say, scary, okay? Don't underestimate Shinran, okay? Shinran, nobody is such a scary teacher as Shinran, okay? If we truly understand what Shinran is telling us, he is really scary. He is challenging our wishful ideas. I want to be happy. I go to Pure Land. I want to see my parents in the Pure Land. I go to the place where I no longer have any form of suffering. Isn't that human wisdom? Is that the dualistic thinking? Okay? Shinran is really challenging our basic orientation. Okay? We don't know we are in the cocoon of dualistic thing. This is a world of dualistic thing. We create our type of Buddhism here, okay? And we don't doubt it. But Shinran is teaching the tremendous challenge. You must come out of this, and you must have another big starting point. Okay? Bodhicitta. This is the truth. Unless you have this true bodhicitta realized in us, true Buddhism doesn't begin. We may think this is true Buddhism, but Shinran says, no, this is provisional Buddhism. It's a kind of preparatory stages through which we are supposed to go to another stage. Okay, this is what Shinran teaches. Okay, don't make a kind of secular version of Shinran Jodo Shinshu or something like that. Don't humanize. Okay, Jodo Shinshu. Okay. Shinran calls the practitioner's practices one practice saying the name that is performed on the basis of the self-power bodhicitta, dualistic thinking. Although the name is a command, here people think this is a practice. Namandavutsu is a practice. But Shinran says here, Namandavutsu is nothing you practice. Namandavutsu is something you hear. Namandavutsu is a calling voice saying, come to the Buddha's wisdom, okay, said by the Buddhas. We cannot say, we cannot say the true Nembutsu. Okay? Nembutsu is said by Buddhas. Our teachers are saying Namandavutsu. It's a command. Come to the Namandavutsu, come to the, so something to hear. But here, people make a practice out of Nembutsu. Okay? He calls the practitioner one practice of saying the name that is performed on the basis of Sarpa bodhicitta. Although the name Namamidabutsu is a command from the Buddha saying, come to the Buddha's non-dualistic wisdom, the practitioners here do not understand it. They mistakenly think that saying the name is a practice that is needed for birth in the Pure Land. They create, Namandabutsu is a other part challenging us, but we create self-power practice out of Namandabutsu. Totally deluded. See, we mistakenly think that saying the name is a practice that is needed for birth in the Pure Land. And Shinan called their path birth in that is non-comprehensible. So these people want, they think they cannot eliminate any one of the blind passions. So the only way to be born in the Pure Land after death is through Nembutsu, and after they attain birth in the Pure Land, then gradually these blind passions could be wiped away in the Pure Land because the environment is pure. But so long as we are alive, we cannot eliminate any of these blind passions. This is the Jodoshu. But the Nembutsu practice is a kind of preparation for the birth in the Pure Land after death. And Shinran said that although these practitioners initially attain birth in the provisional Pure Land, Amida will ultimately make them attain birth in the true Pure Land if they understand the meaning of Namu Amidabutsu. Hearing and understand the meaning of Namu Amidabutsu liberate, not chanting it. Namandabutsu is not a practice, not our practice, but the self-power bodhicitta makes us think we need a practice, some kind of practice. And so these people are not able to perform all kinds of sundry practices, but so they believe this is the last resort. Amida Buddha gave us this one practice of chanting the name, specifically for those who are helpless. Okay? That's the Pure Land teaching believed in the second stage. So as far as the basis, spiritual basis of the second stage is concerned, not so much different. Okay? Types of practices they perform here and here are different. Okay? Many practice, some people, this is one practice. Okay. These people think they can become Buddhas in this life, but these people don't think they can become Buddhas in this life. They have to be born in Pure Land. Okay. And they cannot eliminate any one of these blind passions in this life. So they'll be born in Pure Land, and it is only after death that they become Buddhas. Okay. That's the main difference. But basically, the way they think, the fact that they are trusting dualistic thinking, loving pluses and hating minuses, that's all same orientation. Okay? They are dwelling in this cocoon or the world of dualistic thinking. I use the word imaginary reality, imaginary, or imagined or conceptualized reality. It's not the true reality. This is the true reality, world of the Dharma. Okay? This is the world of oneness. That's the true reality in which we are actually living. Okay? But this is a kind of conceptualized world. Okay? Or imaginary world. Okay? So initially, it is in this imaginary world, in the world of dualistic thinking, we are creating our type of Buddhism, and we are searching for spiritual liberation there. And Shinran says, it's impossible. It's not the real world we are living in. Unless this cocoon is crushed by the power of the Buddha, unless we be liberated from this cocoon, we cannot attain the birth in the true land, true pure land, world of the Buddha's wisdom. Okay? Before we get to the third stage, I like to say a few words about the Shinran's transition from the second stage to the third stage. I will talk about Shinran's doubt Shinran's doubt about the practice of saying the name. Okay. Shinran, in the second stage, Shinran continued the practice of exclusive practice of saying the name, and he continued the practice, but he gradually started to have serious doubt about the practice. And the followers of Honen chanted the name Namandabutu thousands of times a day. Although Shinran engaged in chanting practices same way in the second stage, he started to have serious doubt about it. And he could not believe that the practice of saying the name was the cause of spiritual liberation. So Shinran probably asked his teacher Honen many questions about the meaning of Nembutsu practice. Since Shinran was one of the closest disciples of Honen, it's possible that Shinran received some answers from the teacher, that those answers that other disciples of Honen could not receive. Having talked with Honen, Shinran must have realized that it was not the practice of saying the name, but hearing and understanding the meaning that is contained in the name that liberated him. In making the transition from the second stage to the third stage, Shinran thought that although many disciples of Honen considered the teaching of the second stage the teaching of Honen, he thought they were wrong. Okay? Although many disciples of Honen believed that second stage is a true teaching of Honen, they are wrong. Shinran thought that the teaching of the second stage was not an authentic representation of Honen's teaching. It was actually a shallow understanding of it. Shinran thought that Honen taught him the teaching of the third stage. Shinran is the Honen, the real Honen. Initially, he thought Honen taught this teaching, but later, when he started to read the larger sutra, Shinran realized that the true Honen, that Honen actually taught the teaching of the larger sutra. The teaching of the third stage was the true teaching of Honen. Okay? So in Shinran's mind, there are two types of Honen, okay? Jodoshu Honen and Shinshu Honen. Okay? And Jodoshu Honen's teaching was based upon Contemplation Sutra and Amida Sutra. But true Honen, true Honen's teaching was based upon the larger sutra. These two traditions have the same vocabulary. These two traditions use identical vocabulary, such as Amida Buddha, Pure Land, Shinjin, and Butsu was in the Pure Land. But Shinran realized the meaning of those concepts are totally different in Jodoshu and Shinshu. Same concept. That's how he moved from the second stage to the stage. It took some time before Shinran realized that. We don't know exactly when Shinran moved to the third stage, but we can know that he moved to the third stage when he seriously read the larger sutra. Third stage, true Buddhism, Shinshu. The stage of the truly settled, described in the 18th vow, Shinran's age, we don't know exactly when he moved to the third stage, probably age 31 or 32. Okay, let me read the 18th vow. Okay, 18th vow. If when I attain Buddhahood, the sentient being of the 10 quarters, with sincere mind and trusting, desiring to be born in my land, and thinking of me, perhaps even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain the supreme enlightenment, excluded are those who commit the 5 grave offenses and those who slander the right Dharma. This is the famous 18th vow. Okay, so this vow talks about the third type of people. Okay, the truly settled, truly settled. Again, Shinran talks about the 4 names of the 18th vow. The primary, selected primal vow, the vow of the threefold mind of the primal vow, the vow of sincere mind and entrusting, the vow of Shinjin, which is Amida's directing or merit for our going forth. Here again, I bold faced these 3 names of the vow. These are all Shinran's naming. Okay, Shinran's name. You understand when Shinran says these 3 minds, okay, mentioned in the vow are referred to the other power bodhicitta, the other power bodhicitta. All these bold-faced sections are related to the other power bodhicitta. Shinran called the third stage, the gate of extensive vow. Before Shinran, there are only Pure Land teacher talked about two gates. The gate or the path of sages and the Pure Land gate. Two gates. Shinran talks about the essential gate, true gate, and the gate of extensive vow. 3 gates. Okay. This is Shinran, uniquely Shinran's teaching. And he called the people described in the 18th vow the truly settled. He called these people the initial aspiration. Okay, this is the important part. Okay, here, this aspiration. Okay, this aspiration awakened here. Okay, he called this other power bodhicitta. Okay, he or the Pure Land bodhicitta, and he called the 3 minds: sincere mind, entrusting, desiring to be born. Almost these 3 minds here, 3 minds here, 3 minds here. Okay, almost sounds identical. Okay, if you read these 3 minds, sincere mind, and sincere mind, you can tell the difference. But he says these 3 minds mentioned in the 18th vow all refer to the other power bodhicitta, and the threefold mind. It's called other power threefold mind. The mind that the Buddha, the mind of the Buddha. This is mind of the Buddha, that the Buddha gives to people. The only thing necessary in the third stage is hearing and understanding the meaning of the name, Namamidabutsu. Namamidabutsu is a command, an order coming from the mouth of our teachers, historical teachers. Namu Amidabutsu means come, imperative says come to the Buddha's wisdom, come out of this cocoon and be born into the world of the Buddha's wisdom of oneness. Okay, this is the meaning of Nembutsu. Namandabutsu is something we have to hear and understand. It is nothing we use it as a practice. Okay? Shinran said it's not a chanting the name. It's not our chanting the name that liver. It's our hearing the name that is chanted or said by our teachers. See? Teachers are saying, not we are saying. Okay, this is Shinran says. Teachers are saying Namandabutsu. It's a challenging voice from the Buddha. Okay, this is the thing. Namu Amidabutsu. Come. Namu means come. Amidabutsu. Amidabutsu is a symbol. Okay? limitless light is a symbol for Buddha's wisdom. The light is a symbol of the Buddha's wisdom. It's a non-dualistic wisdom. Okay? This is Buddha's mind. Only the Buddha's mind can break through this shell of human mind and give birth to this Shinjin, other power. Shinjin, other power, bodhicitta, Shinjin. This is Buddha's mind. This same mind, same mind. This mind, the calling, and this shapes us and put this kind of human mind. Okay, this human mind gradually disappear through the as we deepen on hearing and understanding the thing. Then suddenly this new aspiration, new beginning starts. This is Shinjin. This is the other power, bodhicitta. We cannot awaken this. Only the Buddha's calling voice, Buddha's teachings can awaken it. The only thing necessary for us is hearing the words. Nammandabuts is the words of historical teachers. He and she called the birth that is inconceivable. These were two types of conceivable, because it's a humanly conceived, humanly expected. It's a dualistic expectation, which is understandable by human thinking. But this cannot be understood because Buddha's wisdom is non-dualistic wisdom. We cannot use our dualistic thinking to understand the non-dualistic wisdom of the Buddha. That's why it's called inconceivable liberation, inconceivable birth in the Pure Land. See? And Shinran considered that the third stage is based upon the import of the larger sutra. Okay. Now, here, let me talk about the spiritual basis. The spiritual basis of the third stage. I already mentioned this, so it's kind of redundant, but I kind of summarized the meaning of Buddha's non-dualistic wisdom. So let us read, okay? The basis of the third stage is the Buddha's non-dualistic wisdom that Amida Buddha symbolizes, okay? We often say that Amida Buddha liberates us or saves us, but be careful, okay? If you think Amida is a personal savior, that kind of teaching is here, okay? It's like Christianity. If Amida is considered personal savior coming from the Western paradise and help us to go to Pure Land after death, that is a personal savior. That's not the true meaning of the Amida Buddha. Of course, Contemplation Sutra presents Amida as a personal savior. That's why Shinran says the Amida Buddha taught in the Contemplation Sutra is a provisional Amida, provisional Buddha, not true Buddha. True Buddha, true Amida is a symbol of the wisdom. See? So the Amida's saving us, liberating us is a literally way of saying it, or symbolic way of saying it. But actually what it means, Amida's liberating us means Buddha's wisdom liberates us. Okay? We are deluded because of human wisdom, dualistic thinking. So only the Buddha's non-dualistic wisdom liberates. Wisdom is everything in Jodo Shinshu. Amida is a symbol of wisdom liberator, not the personal savior. Okay, Buddhism is the teaching of wisdom. See? Light liberates us, wisdom liberates us. See? And we are born in the Pure Land. Pure Land is not the place, the actual place we go after we die. Pure Land is a world of wisdom. See, Amida symbolizes wisdom. Our teachers embody this and give us the words of wisdom. Their words of wisdom, Nammandabuts, awaken the same wisdom. Shinjin is Buddha's wisdom. The Shinjin, Shina says, Shinjin is also what the other power, bodhicitta, is Buddha's wisdom. So the birth of the bodhicitta here, the Shinjin, that Shinjin liberates us because it is Buddha's wisdom, Buddha's mind that is given to us from the Buddha's mind. It is insight into true reality, the truth of suchness or things as they are. It is also insight into the truth of oneness or the truth of neither arising nor perishing, neither birth or nor death, neither plus nor minus. In Shinshu, this wisdom is usually called insight into the Dharma of non-origination or non-arising. This wisdom of neither arising nor perishing does not divide things into plus values and minus values, such as good and evil, pure and impure, and happiness and suffering. This wisdom, Buddha's wisdom, means the wisdom that transforms minus into plus, unlike dualistic thinking that finds meaning only in plus values. This wisdom enables us to find meaning not only plus values, not only in plus values, but also in minus values. This wisdom alone, non-dualistic wisdom alone, can realize the fulfillment of human life. I told you, if you are attached to dualistic thinking, we can appreciate only plus values. We reject, we hate minus values. But if we receive this wisdom, non-dualistic wisdom that transforms minuses into pluses, we can appreciate both plus values and minus values. We can find meaning in minus values. Only the Buddha's wisdom can make us appreciate both pluses and minuses. If we can appreciate both pluses and minuses, then we can appreciate the entirety of our human life. Then our human life can be fulfilled. Our life can be completed. See? Our life does not end in meaninglessness, as in the case of living life on the basis of dualistic thinking. Okay? The Buddha takes the initiative. This is very important. Okay, Shinran says no way we can realize Shinjin by ourselves. No way we can awaken the other power bodhicitta by ourselves. Then how can it be realized in this? This is a big question. Okay, but Shinran is very careful, and Shinran gives all kinds of explanation how Shinjin or the other power bodhicitta can be realized. It can never be realized through our efforts, through our dualistic thinking. Okay? Because Shinjin is a negation of dualistic thinking. Okay? Shinjin is a negation of dualistic thinking. How can we realize the negation of the dualistic thinking? By using the dualistic thinking. Self-power cannot negate itself. Okay? Impossible. Only the other power, Buddha's wisdom, can challenge and negate our dualistic thinking or the self-power. There are very few books on Jodo Shinshu in this country. Only few English books, good English books on Jodo Shinshu. The introduction of Jodo Shinshu has just begun, just recent year, I think. How many good Jodo Shinshu books do you have in English? Only a few, or maybe several. See? At this point, people are so ignorant about what Shinran taught us. So they come up with all kinds of arbitrary versions of Jodo Shinshu, and they're preaching all different versions of Jodo Shinshu. It's sad. Okay? You must be very careful and read books, carefully. Okay, you must listen to what Shinran says rather than what the preachers say. Okay, this kind of statement may offend some people, but no, that's my feeling. Okay, you can disagree with me, but that's my honest feeling. Okay? Don't convince yourself that you have understood Jodo Shinshu. Jodo Shinshu teaching is much more profound than you think it is. Okay, I used to think I understood Jodo Shinshu, but recent years I cannot say I understood Jodo Shinshu. The more I study Shinshu, the deeper his teaching gets, and no way I can say I understood Shinran Shonin. Okay. The Buddha knows that we are so deluded by our attachment to dualistic thinking that we cannot realize ultimate spiritual liberation. Before we recognize our problem, the mistake of being attached to dualistic thinking, the Buddha has already prepared and offered a solution for the problem. This is Shinran Shuni's understanding of Jodo Rajya Sutra. Rajya Sutra is a story in which Amida Buddha recognized the tragic reality of human situation. And Buddha takes initiative. Dharma kara make vows to say, but Buddha takes initiative to liberate people before people recognize the problem. Next, the Buddha knows the dualistic thinking is not the cause of human liberation, but the cause of human suffering. He also knows that our practices to liberate ourselves on the basis of dualistic thinking are futile. Buddha knows human practices that are based on dualistic thinking cannot possibly liberate people, create more problems. See, Buddha knows it. That's why Buddha meditated 5 kalpas to figure out the way how to liberate people. See, they came up with the idea. I will give them one phrase. If they listen to one phrase alone, that's good enough to liberate them. That's the story of Dharmakara. Having known that the self-power bodhicitta that we awaken cannot liberate us, the Buddha makes us awaken the other power bodhicitta or Shinjin or the threefold mind that are mentioned in the 18th vow. Threefold mind. Our teachers embody threefold mind, Buddha's mind, and only the people with Buddha's mind can awaken the same Buddha's mind, the other power bodhicitta in us. Okay? When we awaken the other power bodhicitta, the Buddha's wisdom. Please remember, bodhicitta is Buddha's second bodhicitta is Buddha's mind, Buddha's wisdom. We are born in the world of Buddha's wisdom or the world of true reality that Pure Land symbolized. Shinran believed that the other power bodhicitta, the Buddha's mind that the Buddha gives us alone can realize ultimate human liberation. The Buddha's non-dualistic wisdom liberates us from samsara and enables us to live our lives dynamically and meaningfully. It enables us to attain Supreme Buddha. Attaining Buddhahood means the fulfillment of our lives. Nothing mysterious. What does it mean to become a Buddha? What does it mean to attain parinirvana? We fulfill our lives. With human wisdom, with dualistic thinking, we cannot fulfill and complete and fulfill our life. Only with the Buddha's wisdom that is non-dualistic, we can fulfill our lives. Fulfillment, at the end of our lives, we have fulfillment of human life. That's called attaining Buddhahood or attaining parinirvana. That's the ultimate goal in Buddhism. We don't have to seek another life. Here, attaining another life after death is an important issue in Jodoshu school. Okay? But inconceivable birth means totally becoming liberated, born into the world of Buddha's wisdom oneness, here now. Okay? And end our lives with the completion, fulfillment of our life. That's what Shinran teaches. That's what Shakyamuni taught. Shakyamuni never talked about any life or lives after death. Shakyamuni taught us to complete your life. Okay? Find a way to transcend suffering while you're alive. Okay? And born into the world of Buddha's wisdom. And complete your life. End your life with a full stop, with a period. Don't have your ending your life as a karma or something like that. Life should be completed when we die. That's what Shinran and Shakyamuni are teaching us. Okay? Buddha's wisdom terminates our attachment to dualistic thinking. It terminates samsara, an endless cycle of birth and death. We no longer live in an imaginary world in which we pursue an ideal goal plus values. in the future by performing practices. We become content with our present life, with what we already are or what we already have. Okay, Shinjin is an insight into the reality in which we are living here now. Okay, and we understand, we realize we don't have to seek any dreams, future goals in the future, okay, to become fully content with what we are, becoming fully content with what we already have. That's what Buddhism teaches us. Okay, dualistic thinking always makes us feel this present reality is so unpleasant, unfavorable, and we have to seek something wonderful in the future. That's the basic nature of dualistic thinking. So you must engage in practices to better yourself, to become a Buddha, or to seek another wonderful reality after death. That's a specific delusion we have. Okay? That's the provisional Buddhism that Shinran talks about. Starting to live in the world of true reality or the world of oneness that exists here now, we do not feel any frustration that arises from dualistic thinking. Receiving the other power bodhicitta or shinjin, or becoming one with the Dharma, true reality means that we become true seekers, embodying the spirit of the perfect student that Bodhisattva Dharmakara symbolizes. We keep seeking the Dharma without being attached to any fixed idea, without being attached to any class value. We keep on seeking. We are not content with any fixed conclusions, answers, ideas, opinions, assertions. Being liberated from all these fixed ideas, we become nothing but a seeker, a continuous seeker. Dharma is life itself, we become life itself. The process itself becomes a goal. Okay? We don't have to envision a wonderful future goal. We don't have to practice it to attain it. Okay? Here now, immediately, by hearing the name alone, we can be immediately born into the world of Buddha's world of oneness. Okay? This is the world of oneness. The most important doctrinal basis of Shinran. Okay? Only 9 lines. This is traditionally called the three-vow fulfillment passage. 3 vow means 17, 18, 11. I've been discussing this. So all the things I've been saying come from this passage. Okay? Only 9 lines. Okay? I said Shinran carefully read the larger sutra, okay? And he doubted the validity of the teaching based upon contemplation sutra. So from moving from the second stage to the third stage, the crucial point is that Shinran discovered the importance of the larger sutra. Okay, so he carefully read the larger sutra and discovered a section called the fulfillment of the 3 vows. That's these 9 lines. This appears at the beginning of the 2nd volume of the larger sutra. Okay. This 9-line section in the larger sutra is the most important doctrinal basis of Shinran. I could say all Shinran's writings are commentary on these 9 lines. Shinran thought The Raja Sutra was the most important Buddhist text in all Buddhist literature. And he considered these 9 lines in the Raja Sutra the most important text in all Buddhist literature. I cannot explain, I cannot emphasize the importance of this section too much. Okay, this is the basis. If you are basis of his teaching, if you are Jodo Shinshu major in Jodo Shinshu College, the first passage you are asked to memorize is this. Okay? People spend weeks and months and years in studying these nine lines, because all Shinran's doctrine is based upon these nine lines. Okay, these this text talks about the fulfillment. 3 vows. Shinran says, in my life, three vows are fulfilled, actualized in my life. 3 vows. This is a vow in which Dharmaka says, I want this name realized. I want these historical teachers, existence of the historical teachers realized. I want the name, their words, their commanding word, Nama Amida Butsu, realized. So the 17th vow is Dharmaka's desire to have the existence of the historical teachers realized, and their words, Namandabutsu, realized. That's the content of 17th vow. The realization of the Nembutsu, calling voice, that's fulfilled. Shinran said, I met Honen Shonin. Honen Shonin was Nembutsu. Honen was this challenging voice saying, Namami Dabutsu, come. And this is fulfilled. Shinran met Honen. That's a fulfillment of 70th vow. Okay. Here, 70th vow means the historical teachers are there, and their words, Namandabutsu, are there. Okay. Shinran said, I met Honen. Honen was a calling voice. And then this is fulfilled. 18th vow is the realization. This vow talks about the realization of the other power, bodhicitta. And hearing and understanding the name alone realize other power. So this is hearing and understanding the name alone realize. Shinran, hearing my medical teacher, I heard Namandabutsu. Okay? The Honen said, come out of the cocoon of this dualistic thing and born into the world of Buddha's wisdom. I heard it and recognized the mistake of being attached to it. And now my other power, bodhicitta, Buddha's mind, see, this Shinji, came out of me. This liberated me. That's the next sentence here. All sentient beings, Shinran included, as they hear the name that is being said by Buddha, Tathagata's historical teachers, realize one thought, one moment of Shinjin and joy. See, so these two, I bold-faced these 2 lines. These 2 lines, bold-faced lines, are the most important of all teachings, all Shinran's teachings. See? I met Honen, I heard Nembutsu, and my Shinjin is awakened. This is all the core of Shinran's experience, liberation. Shinran does not talk about any other form of human liberation. This is it. See? Nembutsu, I heard Nembutsu. Shinjin is awakened. True bodhicitta is awakened. That's all. And this bodhicitta, Shinjin becomes, Shinjin is Dharmakara born in me. This Dharmakara born in me becomes Amida Buddha in me. And when I die, I complete my life. I become Amida Buddha. I become Supreme Buddha. Okay? That is the 11th vow. Okay? I met Honen, Nembutsu, heard by me, and Shinjin awakened, fulfillment 18th vow. Then this meaningful and powerful and dynamic and meaningful life is realized. My ending, my physical death is the completion of Buddhist path, and nothing to be done after that. It's a period. That's the 11th vow. 17th vow, Nembutsu, 18th vow, Shinjin, and completion of human life. 17, 18. It's medicine. patient took medicine, complete recovery. Okay? That's what. I don't have time to explain the following section. You know, that's page bottom of page 7 and 8. Please read. Okay, please read. I will rediscuss these three fulfillments passage later, in particular in the fourth and fifth lectures. Okay? But this is outline. This is the outline of Shinran's teaching. Okay, and I hope I explain the importance of this topic. Two types of bodhicitta Shinran talks about. Okay, if you understand this topic alone, okay, I think you really understand core of Shinran's teaching. Okay, that's all I wanted to say today. Okay, thank you very much for your kind attention. Yeah, upside down and falsely settled. This is the world of attachment. Okay, attached to fixed values. These people hate minus values. They are attached to plus value. Okay? They want to maintain it. But this is the world of the Dharma. Okay? World of Dharma. Okay? This symbolizes. Okay? This symbolizes continuous flow. Impermanent. This is dynamic flow. Okay? Dynamic flow of life, impermanence. Okay? This is the Dharma. Dharma means that. Okay? But here, this is the world. Okay? World we create on the basis of thinking, conceptualization. Okay? This is not the real. Conceptualization is not the real. Okay? It's we are ideas, concept, and reality itself is oneness. Okay? Where is the two-ness in this world? Look around. Is there any two-ness in front of your eyes? Everything is one. Okay? One life. You are part of this one universal flow of life. Okay? But it's only in our mind we create value, pluses, minuses. In actuality, this world doesn't exist. Because the pluses become minus could become one. Nothing is fixed. But what is only in our mind? We fix things. But our thinking is going against the Dharma, impermanence. That's a basic, this is the basic cause of suffering. Our suffering is caused by our thinking. Shinran has so much to say about these two types of bodhicitta, and I want to explain the historical reason, why Shinran emphasized the importance of these two concepts. Next, in the next lecture, I want to talk about the historical reason behind Shinran's emphasis on these two bodhicitta. Okay. Anyway, so much to talk about, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you again next class in the next lecture. Okay.